Hey folks, this is Dan from King Lou D&D. Today in this video I'm going to be covering the epic boon feats, ranking them from the worst to the best based on concept, what they were going for, and then also execution. How did this actually work out? And so just to get us started, these epic boons are going to be extra features that you can pick, or they're granted within specific classes, that you have to get at level 19 or above. This is also a concept in the book to encourage campaigns to go beyond level 20, where you can then stack up on these extra boons as your character gets more and more creative and unique and powerful. And so these are very high level features. They're supposed to be almost game breaking, making your character feel absolutely awesome and cool and powerful. And so with that said, the absolute worst one, the thing that I think is the most disappointing of this list of 12 epic boons, is the boon of spell recall. Number 12, bottom one, boon of spell recall. It's a cool concept. Your ability scores can increase. You pick one, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. It can increase up to a max of 30, so you're going to break that normal 20 that we see. And what happens is on your spell casting for spells of level 1 to 4, you roll a d4, and if you roll the same number as the spell slot that you just used between 1 to 4, you get that spell slot back. Cool concept. I love what they're trying to do here. But we're level 20, we're level 19, we've got level 8 and 9 spells, we're doing really big things. I'm not going to care that much that I get on a 25% chance my level 2, my level 3, maybe my level 4 spell slot back. It's just, it doesn't hit me the way that I wished it would. I honestly would say, make it a d10. Use it for all spell slots. If you use a 9th level spell, you roll a d10 and roll a 9, you get your spell slot back. That would be fantastic. I'd say even if you roll the 10 on the d10, no matter what spell slot you just used, you get that spell slot back. That way, sure, you've got a very low chance of getting that back, but when you do, it's going to matter, it's going to be big. You have at least a 10% chance of getting any of your spell slots back you just used. I think that this one is kind of a flop. That's why it's at my bottom. Next, number 11. Really cool concept as well. This boon of energy resistance. You get to increase an ability score by 1, any of them, and then on every long rest, you can choose 2 different damage types to resist from a specific list. It's about half of the resistances. And then also, not only do you resist those 2, but then you can redirect, which really, you just get the resistance, and then you get to deal 2d10 damage of that chosen type to another creature you can see within 60 feet. Now, they have to make a dexterity saving throw, or they dodge that damage, and then you roll the 2d10. So you're gonna get 2 to 20 damage, and I also anticipate most of the time when you redirect this damage, the creature you're redirecting it towards is probably going to be resistant to that damage type as well. We're talking very powerful creatures and monsters, and so if they're using fire damage, if they're using thunder damage, they're most likely resistant to those things. And so I think this one kind of flops in the execution. I love the concept, but in reality, the creature might dodge the redirected damage, and then even if it hits, I bet that it's going to be resistant to that damage. I wish the damage was more. I just wish that this had a little bit more kick to it. Now, getting 2 damage types that you can change on every 2 damage resistances that you can change on every long rest, that is really great. I love that part. I just wish that the redirected energy was a little bit better. So, that's 11. Gonna speed through some of the next ones. 10 on my list is Boon of Speed. You get to increase any ability score by 1, still to that max of 30. As a bonus action, you can take the Disengage action, which also ends the grappled condition, which is kind of cool. And then your movement speed also increases by 30 feet. I think this is solid. I think this is what you would expect from a Boon of Speed. I mean, a huge movement speed buff. But the disengage thing with the grapple, I don't think that's going to come up that often. And so at the end of the day, you can move 30 more feet, maybe 60 feet on other classes, 70, 80 feet a turn. Yeah, it's fine, it's cool. Most of our situations, we don't need to be moving 100 feet in a round. So I don't see this one exciting us as much in the game. That's why it's low on my list as well. Number 9, Boon of True Sight. Ability score increases by 1, you can pick one, and then you gain True Sight up to 60 feet. This means you can see things that are invisible, you can see through illusions and all of that too. True Sight up to 60 feet is pretty cool. I love the concept. This is low on my list, it's 9 out of 12. It's pretty niche, and it's also pretty outclassed by the other epic boons, as you'll see as we go through. So sure, you can see through those illusions, you can see invisible enemies. Unless you're going up against things that can do that, this is kind of a waste. When other epic boons are going to be useful in every single combat or even every single day that you're adventuring. I think it's super niche. I love the direction. I do think it'll be very in line with maybe some character concepts where we're going to be like, oh yeah, this monk should have True Sight or something like that. And I think it'll really fit in some character creation. I just think the execution in game, it's not going to be there. It's not going to hit us as good as we want it to. Number 8 on my list of these epic boons is the Boon of Fortitude. So any ability score you increase by 1, and you get this ability, Fortified Health. You increase your hit points by 40. And then when you're healed, anytime you're healed, you gain an additional bonus to that healing that's equal to your Constitution modifier. And then you use that feature once per turn. So this one can be procced multiple times in a combat, every single turn. If you've got some type of ongoing regular healing, you're going to see this hit and hit and hit. And I think that's really good. And that 40 hit point boost, you're going to notice that. We're talking seeing some health points go from 120 to 160, even like 150 to almost 200. And there are some classes who will get that 200 hit points, so you're now going to sit at a 250. I'm willing to bet, and you can show me, is 300 hit points possible? Is 350 hit points possible with this now? I bet it is. You already get tough as a dwarf, where your hit points are going to be +2 for every level. So that's already +40. And then if you get this on a dwarf as well, just from those two features alone, you're looking at 80 hit points. So this is going to be big. We're going to have some beefy guys with this feature. I'm loving it. We're starting to get into the better ones. I'm getting excited. So that was the Boon of Fortitude. Now we're looking at almost halfway through. Number 7 on my list, Boon of Dimensional Travel. Boon of Dimensional Travel. So you get to increase any ability score by 1, and you get this feature called Blink Steps. After an attack or using the magic action, you can teleport up to 30 feet. All right, we're getting into cool stuff here. I think this is the best for some type of squishy. We're talking about your spellcasters. Maybe some martial classes pick this up, but I think it's gonna really shine for our rangers, for our ranged shooters, for our spellcasters. Just getting to immediately move, not have to worry about attacks of opportunity, not have to worry about the terrain at all. You're just appearing 30 feet away. This is good execution. This is good concept. We're starting to get into that halfway point at the list where this turns and they're actually becoming viable and really good. Number 6, halfway on our list, something I think that's pretty cool. It's a great idea. We're starting to get there. Boon of Irresistible Offense. The Boon of Irresistible Offense. Any ability score, strength or dexterity, increase either strength or dexterity by 1. Then you get 2 features here. Overcome defenses. You're going to ignore resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Really cool. A lot of creatures have that, and so this is already immediately really effective. That in itself is going to be seen a lot more than a lot of these other boons that we've seen. Second, Overwhelming Strike. On a natural 20, deal extra damage based on the increased ability score. The increased ability score. We're talking that natural score there. So we're talking you hit a crit and you're adding 20 damage because your strength score is 20. That's pretty big. This is pretty impactful. You hit that crit, not only are you doubling your dice damage, but off the jump, you're getting 5 for your strength, maybe 6 for your strength, plus the 20. And so that is going to be really throwing the floor of your damage up whenever you crit. This is low on my list. This is on the halfway point because it is a cool idea, but the natural 20 restriction is a bad execution. And here's why I say that. You have the fighter class that increases your crits on 19s, even 18s. They have added abilities and features in here that make the 19 crit for other classes. Why not just say that you get this on a critical strike? Not just on a natural 20, on any critical hit. I think you do that. I think you reward those critical hits. You make this more reliable. That one change, and this would have been up on my list. I will do that. I'll do that in my campaigns, but it's not how it is in the book. It's low on my list. All right, number 5. 5 out of 12, getting up to my number 1. Boon of the Night Spirit. Any ability score increases by 1. You get 2 abilities merge with shadows. You become invisible in dim light or darkness. And then anytime you take an action, that invisibility will end. Second, shadowy form. You gain resistance to all damage except psychic and radiant in dim light or darkness. Let's go. This is exciting. This is conceptual. This is going to like hit you. You're going to have that character, that rogue, that ranger, that whatever flavored character that you have that is stalking in the night or hiding in the shadows, and you're going to pick this up and you're going to feel like they just leveled up and they just became epic. This is both great concept, great execution. The resistance to damage, that is surprising to me, and I love it. It makes sense. You're harder to hit. You're going to be glancing off on those blows and those spells. The flavor of it just hits just right. This is a good epic boon. And they get better. Boon of Recovery. Number 4. Here we go. We're starting to get better, and you're going to see why I put this one higher than the Boon of Fortitude. 1. Increase any ability score by 1. 2 features. Last Stand. Instead of dropping to 0, you drop to 1 HP, and then you regain HP equal to half of your max HP once a day. Once per long rest. And Recover Vitality. You have a pool of 10 D10s, and you can spend those to heal yourself as a bonus action and regain HP, and you regain those at a long rest. You can reliable healing, and you get healing when it really matters, when you drop to 0 HP and you get that Last Stand. This is good. This is better than the max health buff because you get a lot of reliable healing. You end up getting a little bit more of that average. 10d10's average is more than 40 health, so you get that healing. Plus you get the extra healing when it really matters. When you drop to 0 HP, you get to go to half of your max HP. So this is way better than the Boon of Fortitude. You get so much more health, so much more healing, and in the crucial point when it matters. Boon of Recovery, it's up there, but it's not in my top 3. Now, the top 3. Here we go. Epic boons in the book. Number 3, Boon of Fate. Epic boon number 3, Boon of Fate. Increase any ability score by 1, and then you get the ability Improve Fate. Whenever a creature, could be friendly, could be an enemy, fails or succeeds a d20 roll, a d20 test. You can add or subtract 2d4 from that creature's d20 roll, once per short rest, or long rest, or initiative roll. So you're refreshing this. You are getting it back. This is awesome. I love these types of abilities where you get the choice of, hey, that enemy just succeeded that saving throw, and that sucks. All right, I'm gonna roll 2d4, and we're gonna reduce that saving throw by that much, and we're gonna try to turn that around. Love that. This choice to do it when it really matters, so good. And it's not my number one, it's not my number two, because I would just tweak it in one way, because I think just getting to use this once per combat is a little weak. I would at least make it twice. And I would make it twice to say you can do it once to add, and you can do it once to subtract per combat. I think that just makes it fit better for this level 19 super big buff that you're supposed to get. And I think just doing it once is going to be fine. It's going to be awesome, and you're just going to want to be able to do it again. And so I think just giving that, you can do it once for positive, once for negative, rounds that stuff out. Help your teammate once, hurt the enemy once. Okay, cool, let's go. It's really good, and I love it. I would have just made it a little bit better. Number 2, almost number 1, Boon of Combat Prowess. Here we go. Any ability score you want increases by 1 to that max of 30, and then you get Peerless Aim. If you miss an attack, you can choose to hit instead. Once per turn. Once per turn. Yes. Yes, this is good. Yes, this is good for our rangers, our fighters, our clerics, our paladins, our rogues. This is good for any of our attack roll people, obviously, but this is great for our rogues because you can guarantee that you will hit your attack once per turn, and if you're playing the rogue right, you will guarantee that you hit your sneak attack every single turn, and you don't even have to worry about it. It's happening every turn. If you miss, no, I hit, and it's sneak attack, boom. So good, so reliable. Rogues with this are going to outclass. It's fantastic, but it's not my number one. Number 1, absolute best, most exciting epic boon for me is the Boon of Skill. It's crazy. Any ability score you want increases by 1 to a max of 30. Then you get all-around adept, gain proficiency in all skills, and then lastly, if that wasn't enough, expertise. Gain expertise in one skill you don't already have expertise. This is nuts. This is such a cool, epic boon. All of your ability scores are going to be added plus 6 to every single ability check base, because at level 19, level 20, your proficiency is going to be plus 6. And so that means on any skill check whatsoever, you're going to be getting at least 6 plus your other ability scores, and you have expertise in one, which means you're going to get plus 12 on something. This is awesome. This is going to be you're going to be so reliable to be doing anything. This character is going to be ridiculous. You add it, I mean, it's so flexible. It just raises the floor, the baseline, the concept is cool, the execution is perfect. Your character just becomes amazing. And so I love it. I think that that's super cool. Inside of combat, outside of combat, I mean, we're talking about athletics and acrobatic checks inside of combat when it comes to like grappling or getting out of grapples, but we're also talking about history checks and insight checks, like everything. Your character just becomes really dope. I think that one's super cool and really exciting. It's my number 1. I think that one's such a cool epic boon to get at level 19, and for those like super big end game kind of campaigns. Oh, that's really fun. Let me know your thoughts on this list. Let me know your thoughts on these epic boons. Which ones are you excited for? This is pretty awesome. I love this list. I think it's really good.